5, petitions, deputations and questions from members of the public. There's one question and one deputation which have been received from members of the public, and first we have a deputation from Alicia Kearns, MP. Ms Kearns, if you could come forward to the seat, please. And when you're ready to speak, switch on your microphone, and then you have 5 minutes.
The campaign for independence lives on in the memory of our communities, and many are in disbelief with self-governance once again in doubt. Yes, we all share concerns about our high council tax and the issues of being a smaller unitary, but these plans won't solve the problem. Larger councils will not result in rural equality or fair funding, but they will dilute democracy and see decisions made about us outside of Rutland. Because the voices of 40,000 are easily lost when subsumed into 500,000, and that is my main concern. We've been put in this position by government, and now we must determine as Rutland how we wish to respond. This council is required to put forward proposals to negotiate in our best interest, and that requires consultation. On the council's website, you can currently share your views on healthcare, school travel, nature strategy, housing associations, rural library and the budget, yet not on the existence of this council and the future of our county itself. And that is why I held 2 public meetings, to ensure our communities knew about what was going on and to gauge how we feel about these proposals. Our communities are clear. They have preferences over our future and they want a say. Councillors here are not passive participants in this process, and I hope the next proposals are genuinely reflective of what residents want and is best for Rutland. Because I do not accept the argument that the threat of coercion when used is a reason to abandon our interests. We do what is right for Rutland, which is to engage in the process, but to make sure that we are clear we will not willingly give up our independence. Why? Because this gives us more power. A reluctant but engaged partner is more likely to have their red lines listened to. I will announce red lines in coming days, and they will be a reflection on the public meetings I've held and the views of thousands of residents who have attended, written or spoken to me. If the leader wants to go into these negotiations better representing our county, then she needs the full council and our county behind her. And that means all councils must have a say and a vote. I push hard for the government to undertake consultation. Their answer was sadly clear. It is for councils to engage how best to engage locally, decide how to engage locally. I'm relieved that I'm told the council has now recognised that public consultation is necessary, and I hope a timeline is set up tonight. I have read emails over the last few days suggesting that I have the authority to opt us out of Rutland reorganisation. The letter on the 10th of January made clear that this council wanted to move as quickly as possible and agreed reorganisation is needed. There simply is not unanimous agreement, and certainly not that we should be fast-tracked. I have made my opposition clear, informed by the views I've heard at public meetings. I have opposed one single unitary for Leicestershire, opposed the suspension of elections, and opposed the extension of Leicester City. I've written to ministers, ensured residents are aware, and requested meetings. What government is going to say if I suddenly do as the leader states in the emails I should do, say we should opt out, is they ask why was a letter signed in a unanimous agreement. I am not an active participant in negotiations. We all know the Secretary of State has the ultimate authority and will force any decision she deems necessary, including if council like ours refuse to get on board. But Rutland County Council is the actor with agency in this process, and we must put forward alternatives that work for us. I ask on behalf of Rutland that you listen to residents and make this a truly representative decision for our county. I ask that councils back my petition to protect our ceremonial status as a county, because we are Rutlanders, and we should be recognised as such in law and by our King. In negotiations with government and other councils, we must be absolute. The government must make provisions to protect our ceremonial status. To conclude, I wish to summarise the votes at my public meetings. On the question of fighting for Rutland to remain a unitary authority, 2/3 felt the decision had been predetermined and so it was not worth fighting to have a unitary. But if they had their say, the vast majority, if not unanimous, would retain an independent unitary council for Rutland. 1/3 wanted to fight to save our Rutland Unitary Council. There was almost unanimous support for 2 Leicestershire County Councils, with Rutland as part of one, with Rutland in the name if we are forced to merge. Only 5 people wanted one single Leicestershire Rutland Unitary Authority. There was unanimous support for protecting our ceremonial status, very low support for a mayoralty, whether that be Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland Mayor or East Midlands Mayor, but most of all residents were clear they wanted to be given a chance to have their say. The next year will determine our collective future. We need to demonstrate our voice and determination to get what is right for us, but not go along with it just because we believe resistance is futile. Because it's never futile
Ms.
to fight
Kearns,
for
you
your
can
own
only
communities.
read out what is on that's been put forward, I'm afraid.
Well, I've concluded, and I'm happy to have a discussion about what the Constitution sets out as well. If that's helpful.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kearns. Any questions from councillors? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. In your deputation, you state the council must recognise that public consultation is necessary. Yet in Annex A of the letter from the Minister attached to the papers for tonight as the supplementary agenda, the Minister states in Guidance Note 4A, quote, "It is for councils to decide how best to engage locally," unquote. And in 6F, quote, "Once a proposal has been submitted, it will be for the government to decide on taking forward a proposal and to consult as required by statute," unquote. Given that there is clearly no role for local government to consult, although we have begun engaging, for example with our parish council liaison committee, what exactly would you expect us to do?
So I've spoken to the Minister, as well as having put down a written question, and he is clear that it's for council to decide what appropriate engagement is with your communities. Is this council really saying you don't think public consultation is adequate on the proposals that go forward? There will be statutory consultation on mayoralties only. This is local government reform and reorganisation that we should be consulting on. Rutlanders risk losing not only their council but their identity. The idea that any council in this room would not think it important to put a final proposal, whether it be in March or autumn, to public consultation would be fundamentally undemocratic. I've spoken to the Minister, I know exactly what he means. It's for council to determine how they engage, and I'm saying council should hold public consultation, and that's how Rutlanders feel as well.
Thank you. Other members, any more questions? Ms. Kearns. Councillor Johnson.
Do you understand the difference between engagement and consultation? So we are engaging, and we understand you, or we think we understand your point about consultation, but engagement is the key up front, and we are actively engaging.
I'm afraid, Councillor, I must disagree with you on your point that you've done sufficient engagement. As you know, and as the leader will know from the many emails she's received from the community, the only engagement from this council was the 10th of January letter, which said that we were unanimously agreed that reorganisation was needed, which said there was unanimous agreement that we wanted a mayoralty, and asked for it to be fast-tracked for that to take place, was not consulted on, and there was no engagement public. One press release does not engagement make. It is quite straightforward for the council to do the 2 meetings that I held. I should not have to help them. As for your suggestion that I don't understand the difference between engagement and consultation, consultation means exactly that. Going out and holding meaningful consultation where Rutlanders can respond. I've provided a quote, £50,000, I understand what the cost would be for you to hold a consultation for every Rutlander to have a vote. That would be the best form if we're going to lose our identity. But consultation means going out and providing a portal online on your website for people to respond if you are suggesting that we lose our unitary status or that we join one big Leicestershire donut, which clearly the public disagree with. Engagement is one thing, and I would urge you to do more of it. Consultation is the right thing to do when you're talking about this magnitude of a decision.
Any more questions from members? In that case, thank you, Ms. Kearns.